That was a little bit better, wasn't it, today? Just to put the sheer stats out, we qualified or sent, if I'm not mistaken, with the scratches, let's say 26 horses to the gate the last 2 days. All 26 had flat lines. Now, Fusspot didn't qualify at 2-7. Hometown Boys is going to have to come back. Muscle Chrome's going to have to come back. But they all stayed flat and they all did their work. What can we talk about today? Today, obviously, is the qualifiers. I'll touch on what took place last night. First off, Beach Boutique. That would look terrible. And that's not her. I don't even remember her training bad, let alone looking bad. We knew there was something up. She had ripped her right front shoe off in the race. But right front shoes coming off don't necessarily make you look bad. An AST of 4,200, that will. Just for your reference, AST muscle counts on horses should be low. You know, a crampy horse, sometimes you might see them around 300-400 at the most. You'd like to see them down around 200, and the CK, creatine level, down around less than 100 if you can, or around 100. Her CK level was up over 700. Impossible for a horse to race like that. And her muscle count, so the CK goes up, much like when you I would assume when you sprain your back, tweak your back, you pull your back, and that sharp pain you get and the immediate soreness that's attributed to that, that's, I believe, probably your CK level. What happens is your CK level jumps, then your AST comes up to where it is, your CK level comes down. When it goes back down to normal, you can function, but can't race. It looks like this filly tied up somewhere close to the race, probably 3 days out when we trained her. No indication, so probably a tough filly. You know, she looked good, ate her supper, ate her lunch, went back in her stall, jogged her the next day. She might have been a little stiff, but not horrible. So, tough filly, but unfortunately, she tried to race her like that. It's impossible. It just, you can't do it. And that was pretty evident last night with the performance she had. Then we had probably one of the scariest moments I've seen since my accident was last night with I'll Play It Alone. The problem with I'll Play It Alone is simple. I went over it in my head, tried to figure out what it was right away, and I know exactly what it was. If you look back at his qualifier, and even when we trained him, he wore a shadow roll because he looked at stuff on the track. It's not a big deal. But he wore a Murphy blind on the inside. Now, Jody qualified him and said, you got to take that Murphy blind off. He's on the left line too much. His problem before was the right line. I said, I don't know. He says, you can't wear that Murphy blind on him. Jody picks off him. Sylvain drives him. We take the Murphy blind off. Now, this horse would have saw shadows and may have seen the pylons, but probably never really registered with him, the pylons on the track. Obviously, we don't have pylons at our farm, and with that Murphy blind on, he would never have seen them. Murphy blind's right beside the shadow roll, which is up. He's never seen those pylons before. And if you watch the head-on view that I put on Facebook for everybody to see, he dives in just a little bit in the middle of the straight. It's when he's switching gears. Not a lot of horses do this. Very rare. I can't think of one, but he dives in a little bit from time to time. He dove in. You watch his ears. They prick. Because when he dives in the first time, just a hair, he sees the pylons. He goes to dive in a little bit again. Now they're there. When you look at the video, he's 2 feet from the pylons. Not in his head. He's never seen them before. He's a little wound up, and he leaps straight in the air. Very, very scary situation. If he hadn't been such an athlete, he would have probably went down in a heap and would have been carnage last night. Now, I could have drove him last night, but I didn't know if I could with my wrist. And it wasn't until I qualified yesterday that I finally started making the decision that I am coming back. I was going to Kawartha with an open mind, saying, I don't know how I'll be after qualifying the last 2 days. I'm ready to go. So had I warmed him up, had I scored him down, I don't know if I would have thought a horse would do that just from taking the Murphy blind off. But this is a colt that's never really been to the track, only 4 or 5 times. And every time he's gone there, Murphy blind on the inside, shadow roll right here. He's never seen those pylons every 6 feet right there in front of him, or 8 feet. And I think it just startled him. Colts will be colts. Thankfully, nobody got hurt. He's no worse for wear, neither Sylvain. Probably lost maybe a pair of Calvin Klein underwear. Went by the wayside after last night, I would say. I would say. But everybody's fine. A little tenacity, though. I love that. Come back, get up, gritted it out, and come back on for second. You can only imagine the energy this horse expended leaping in the air while going a half in 57. I get into a little bit of a heated argument with James after, because James was angry when Jody drove the colt and let him roll. I told him to let him roll. He come out 54-3. It's not like he was weak, but this colt is better when he's a little agitated. You don't need him like that, but we've had him where we had him quiet in the winter. He just isn't the same. He's better when he's on his game and he's got a little dirt in him. He's better, and we don't want to see a repeat of that ever again. What I'll do this week is take the shadow roll off him, take him over to the track and jog him over those pylons and jog him beside the pylons, let him see them, and then we will put that Murphy blind back on. So, problem solved. Mystery is the mystery is solved. We know what happened with the colt, and we can rectify that. Nevertheless, it was a scary moment. I'm glad it worked out well for everybody and nobody got injured, obviously. Last thing I want to do is be sitting on the sidelines while another driver gets hurt driving our horses. That would be very hard for me to take. So, it all worked out well, and the colt will be back next week to qualify. I don't foresee a repeat performance. Little colts, babies will be babies, and these things happen. We can fix it. So, on to today. Today we had a bunch of qualifiers. Obviously, we had a couple of scratches. Unfortunately, you've all heard by now the injury of Johan, and I touched on this. It's a terrible thing. Really, I wouldn't call it a freak accident. A torn suspensory is a torn suspensory, but it happened quick. There was no indication. When we had the horse, as I said, to the vet clinic, there was no indication there was anything wrong, not visibly, and not mechanically, and not even under the eyes of a trained professional. There was no notice of any issues with Johan, and unfortunately, that's it for 2019 for Johan, which is heartbreaking, but I saw his lag today. It looks great. It's kind of like cruising in Angus's was, and I think it may have been a quick injury that happened. Now, here's the thing. None of this matters. Monday, I trained him. He was perfect. I thought we'd have hung up perfect for today. Tuesday, jog great. Wednesday, jog great. Thursday was lame. Did he kick the wall? Did he cast? It's possible. Could have been a number of things. His lag looks great there right now, which is a very, very important thing, is that the lag is coming down and it's a little more uniform. Usually when they tear those suspensories, as you can imagine, it's a significantly big ligament. A lot of swelling and soreness. He's walking up and down the shed row great. His lag is actually much, much smaller than I thought it would be. So, irregardless, it's it for 2019, but I'm much more optimistic about a somewhat of a full recovery. Anytime you damage ligaments in those hind legs of trotters, it's always a concern, but looking at what I saw today, I'm very optimistic that he'll make... I'm guarded. You never want to say he'll make a full recovery from a torn ligament of that nature. It's a problem. He'll race again. Johan will come back. Johan will be good again, I'm sure. He'll train down. He'll be much more mature. The time off will help him. Just got to keep a real close eye on that ligament, and we're going to in the coming weeks. So Johan was scratched. Sebastian Yu was scratched out of the second, but not because he was injured, but because he is racing Tuesday at Mohawk. We didn't go with him, and that left the door wide open for Ben Dover. Everybody said, I don't know if he's much good. I don't know what he'll do. We saw the winter and how he took place. Keep this in mind next year when you watch the horses train down. I don't think you understand what kind of a mile that was from this colt today. 2-2-1 last half, 57-4 last quarter and 29, and a huge looping move in the last turn from bend over. Horses don't usually do that. That was a big move. That was a bend over I didn't know existed today. I liked him. I thought he was going to be a useful horse, maybe a Buckeye colt. What I saw today was a little bit better than a Buckeye colt. I think this guy's just may have bound into the Ohio Sire Stakes program, the top level. That was an impressive mile. Better, much better than I thought Bend Over could be today. Very impressed with him. Horse that also caught my eye was Giddy Up Max. He was ready to go. He's a little immature still. He's going to need some time. Passed the horse down lane, finished up good. Damn, I thought I was going to look. I meant to look at all the chart lines, so I had this in fresh in my head. So now I don't want to say what his last quarter was because I wasn't certain, but I know he went a good mile. I was very impressed with Giddy Up Max today. Watch Avenue kind of got his neck stretched a little bit following Casey's horse. Won a mile in 59, I think the last half 58. He needs to do a lot more, but that's okay. was a little bit behind this colt, a little sloppy. Remember, we had to turn him out. He was making breaks. Long summer for this guy. He's not on my naughty list at all. Watchev did all he could today. And then we went to Utopian. Utopian was unimpressive today, wasn't he? Just kind of present. He's a horse that probably is going to find his way into probably a condition claimer his first start. You know, we want to make sure these horses can go where they can win. And Utopian, like I said to Sylvain after, how was he? He was okay. And he did his work. He didn't do anything wrong. See a little bump in him right front. I think that right knee bothers him a little bit again. So probably might have to do a little vet work to him. But there's a couple of horses here I think we're suspicious. They might even be just a step below the grassroots, which doesn't mean they're not going to be useful horses for us, but it means we have to put our thinking cap on when we manage these colts and fillies this summer. There'll be none of that entering them just to say they're entered. They're going to be entered where they can win. If we can't find a place they can win, then they shouldn't be with us. So Utopian qualified today, did his work well, finished up okay. I think his line probably looks okay. I'd like to see a little bit more from him, but he has time. He's qualified now. We didn't have anything in the 6th. 7th race, we had Enduring Strength. Very impressive mile from this colt today. 1/2 and 3, I think a mile and 2, 1 and 3, and got picked off late. You know, again, we're in a qualifier. Last thing you want to do is come out of the turn, chase your horse, and put him on the run. And if you remember, in the schooler 2 weeks ago, Enduring Strength did run on the front end on Louis Philippe Bois coming out of the turn. So Mario's not stupid. He knew that. Going to take his time and finish up wisely. This colt looks legit. His first start will be in a gold. I'm almost certain of that. Hometown Boys, he qualified in the 8th. 1 mile and 2.5. You know, I think we all knew that was coming. I would have liked to see 2.3, 2.4. But first time in a while, we didn't have to put the hobbles on him. So he's coming. But this is going to be a slow grind with Hometown Boys. It's just the way it is. He came in late. He's always been lazy. It's going to take some time. I wish maybe, you know, again, I was an advocate always of castrating. When you look at Enduring Strength, you're welcome. All you people that own Enduring Strength, you're welcome, because we hadn't have gelded him, there'd be no Enduring Strength here today. I can almost guarantee you that. And he looked very good today. I almost wish maybe we had reached back in time and castrated Hometown Boys. But that ship sailed for right now. It's too late now. It's too hot in the summer. You geld them now, you're going to miss whatever stake season you had. We're going to have to grind away with Hometown Boys and see if we can get them up into high gear, good old-fashioned way, with work, a little bit of hard work and long hours on Hometown Boys. Lots to work from. 2, 5, and 3. It's June the 20th. He'll come back, qualify next week. I'd like to see him out in 2-2, 2-3 next week, but we'll see. 9th race, McPherson Thunder. I thought this colt looked really, really good today. Around the last turn, if you watch the qualifier, he kicked the earplugs. He paced hard around the last turn. He caught up to them. I think if he swung him to the outside and let him keep sailing, he might have been closer. Man, oh man, he finished up good. I was happy with this colt today. Really happy with McPherson Thunder. 10th, we had nothing. The 11th race, now here's a new horse. His name is the Amazing Sando. So, a lot of stories go behind this horse. My uncle owns half of this horse. One of my very, very good friends owns half of this horse. He was named jokingly after one of my uncles. This is a homebred all the way from PEI. James thinks this colt is legit. We'll see next week. I told him he goes in 56, then we'll talk about golds or grassroots or where we're going to go. But James McDonald has said this horse is legit. So we will see. He looked good to me finishing up. I was a little perplexed that James got away last with this horse, and then in the next race put Don't Believe Me, Just Watch on the front. I'm glad he did. I was okay. Amazing Sando can come back next week. Don't Believe Me, Just Watch. How good did this horse look? James said, if I had kicked the earplugs, if I had earplugs on and kicked them halfway down the lane, chased him through, he would have scurried right through the hole, the little bugger, and he would have won. 57 and a piece. Last quarter in 27 seconds flat. Last half 56 and 1. You cannot expect or ask this colt to be any better than he just was today. Very, very impressed with Don't Believe Me, Just Watch. 13th race, we had Sebastian Ray. He looked awesome too. He very, very good. 2-1 and 2 last quarter, 28 and 2 last half, 57 and 3 or 57 and 2. Mario did a great job with him. Just a nice colt. No shocks here. We know he's a nice colt, and he definitely showed it today. And the last one of the day was another kind of mile. Frontier Cruise. He's going to need a couple more miles. I saw this horse school in 2 minutes the other day. Should have went more than 2 minutes today. I said to Mario, maybe we'll let his hobbles out again, let his head down, put a set of aluminum shoes on him up front. Looks like he's really wasting his time with a big sprawly gait up front, and he's got big pie plate feet. throw a set of aluminums on him next week, let his hobbles out again, let his head down. I think we're looking at a 57 mile out of this guy. He's got a lot of work to do. Him, Watch Avenue, again, another horse I'd like to see do a lot more work. Utopian, these types. Nothing wrong with them, but they do got some work to do. So that was today, a big day for the stable. Yesterday was tough, wasn't it? It was this is a tough game, man. Thursday and Friday, I was in no shape to be talked to. And Friday qualifiers were decent, pretty good. And then Saturday, very good. I wish we had the weather today that we could have had yesterday. Yesterday's weather was not good. Today was fantastic weather, and you saw it on the track. It was a couple of miles in 55 today. So that's it. That's a qualifying report. I'm going to go right now. I'm getting out of this car. I'm getting into that truck, and we're going all the way to Kawartha Downs to race 5. Then tomorrow, Danny O'Brien has 2. I do have an update for another filly. James is going to go spend that money because the race office in Buffalo kind of screwed me over and put Really Blue Chip in the 8th race in Buffalo. So I'm going to Buffalo on Wednesday. James is going to Northfield. He loves Spend That Money. He's going to drive her in the Sire Stakes too over in Ohio, at least her first start. He really likes this filly. I don't blame him. They're going for 40,000. She's a good filly, and James is a good driver. So all this stuff we're going to talk about. Today was a good day. I'm on my way. My first driving assignment since getting smashed up on April 25th. So it's not even been 8 weeks. We're at 7 weeks and a couple of days. And I'm going to be going behind the gate with 5 tonight. We got My Girl, Havana Una Na, Emerald Miss, Beach Bum BB, Sunshine In, and my old buddy, Master Saver. Talk to you guys soon. We got a bunch more videos to do. This is for today. It's going out soon. Had a great day today. I'm in good spirits at 1:59 in the afternoon on Saturday. Take care.